Do sometimes couples say to you in private that I'm just not attracted to them anymore?
Of course. Sometimes they say it flat out to each other too. People
Really?
say hurtful things, yes. And sometimes it's, I can't believe somebody would be attracted to me. I don't find myself attractive. I have been ill, or I have struggled with weight, or I have had addiction issues, or the sex intersects with a lot of things. It intersects with your health. The vast majority of couples, 55 up, that stop being sexual is actually because of the men in hetero couples. Because the men are often on medication for diabetes, for blood pressure, for prostate, for depression, and others. And all these medications have sexual side effects. If you are a man who basically has focused your entire sexuality around your penis and your erections and your ability to get hard and last and have autonomous, spontaneous erections, and suddenly it doesn't happen, and you suddenly think, now I have to ask for help. Help. What kind of a man? This is, I'm no longer, then you give up. And the notion that actually you have an entire body to make love with, and that your penis doesn't make the decisions. It's a person who makes decisions for the penis. That's a very different story. And that you actually can experience pleasure in all kinds of other ways, or that you have had all illnesses with which you have grappled with. So human sexuality is a very broad topic that evolves in the course of your life, that changes with your successes, with your illnesses, with your children's lives, etc., etc. And that is one of the best things I can offer to people, is that suddenly the conversation, when you say the person doesn't want to talk about it, it's because what they've talked about is that narrow. Why don't you want to have sex? You never want to have sex. All you can think about is sex, that kind of thing. And once you've actually invited them into a whole other conversation about what is pleasure for you, what is connection, what is the difference between desire and arousal, what does it mean to start because you're in the mood versus to start because you're willing?
I've had partners before where I thought, you know what, if I laid out the full menu of what I find pleasurable, they would think I was a weirdo. Listen, I'm not into anything extreme. Like, I'm not into, I have a very, look at me apologizing. I'd think, they wouldn't be into that, so I just won't tell them. Or it might make them run off, so I won't tell them. And I think it dawned on me a couple of, maybe about a year ago, when my girlfriend turned around to me and actually asked me the question for the first time about like what my fantasies were. And I was like, do I give her the vanilla menu, or do I tell her about the...
That's where the card game comes in.
This card game?
Mine, yes.
This one I have on the floor?
I have a whole bunch of sexuality-related questions. And because you're playing, it's the pink triangles are the sex ones. But in play mode, you can ask this question about fantasy in a way that is much less directed.
Yeah, or loaded.
Loaded, confrontational.
Yeah.
There's 60 cards on that subject alone. And that creates a very different kind of conversation. And I really think that to put it in the context of play and playfulness invites a very different kind of revelation and honesty.